working to create a unified voice for business. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Joan Verplanck. She's president and CEO of the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for being with us. Good to see you, Joan.
Very happy to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about the idea of a unified voice, because you as a state chamber have a legislative agenda, but you want to hear from local membership as well to find out their needs moving forward as businesses.
Well, really, for the first time in modern history, we're sort of taking our message on the road. We're partnering with local and regional chambers around the state to go in with our legislative agenda that we hope to have solidified and in writing by November, maybe mid-November. And we want to have a discussion with business people around the state, and the local chambers are helping us have that discussion to make sure that whatever we move forward with is something they can support, because we're going to need that support around this whole unified voice of business goal.
And let's get into some of those details. You're actually having tour stops along the way through November 20th, and people can visit your website for the specifics about these, but you want to have a dialogue. You want to have a conversation with business.
Yeah, we're going to go in and talk about where we are and where we think the legislature's headed, talk to them a little bit about some benefits we're offering for small businesses in particular, and that we've partnered with local chambers to market and get out to market around the Affordable Care Act, and hear what their concerns are to make sure that if there's things we're not really understanding from our perch in Wilmington about what's happening in downstate Delaware, we need to hear it from the local businesses. We're also going to be having these kinds of meetings around the Wilmington area as well.
And let's get into some of those details, because you mentioned a benefits plan, and you're actually launching this, and it would be a defined contribution rather than a defined benefit. What would this mean for businesses? How would they participate?
Well, what's unique about it, I think, as much as there's been a lot of concern about the Affordable Care Act, what it's doing to jobs and hours, and the uncertainty of it all, how are we going to handle it, what are our rates going to do, we've been able to put together a plan that's a defined contribution plan. So it takes it, much like we went from defined benefit pension plans, now we're into 401ks. And it really is going to offer the employees the ability, even in small companies, to do what employees of large companies have had for quite a long time, and that's a great deal of selection of benefits. Now, an employer goes in and you sort of look at what you can afford, and you get the deal that kind of fits it. It may not be perfect for the 23-year-old, and it may not be perfect for the 60-year-old, but it cuts somewhere in the middle. And now the employer can simply turn that money over as a gift, basically monthly, to their employees and let them choose the plan that works for them. I mean, do they have children who have orthodontia issues, so they might want flexible spending? Do they have a spouse who works as well? So that changes the whole ballgame. But they can sit down at home with their spouse or a partner and in a matter of an hour go through a computer program and pick exactly what works for them.
And that is a new program that you're working on. But in terms of your legislative agenda, there are a variety of different issues that you're working to address, and one is related to infrastructure and working to fund infrastructure here in Delaware. How important is that to the future of business growth?
Well, it's, you have to get around, and for some of us who come up and down 95 and 295, we know what those bottlenecks are. And there's some stuff being done, but there's a greater need. We could have actually more shovels in the ground. Delaware has a funding issue in that we are precluded from funding beyond a certain point, a percentage of budget. And so maybe we need to look at not what the loan amount is, but what the debt service is, because that's really what it comes down to. Can we service the debt within our guidelines? So, I think there's some creative ways to look at it, and you're going to see a coalition coming together to really put numbers to this.
And that's just one of the issues that you're working to address. You're looking at workers' compensation insurance and other economic issues as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks so much for being with us, Joan.
Thanks for having me.
We've been talking with Joan Verplanck, President and CEO of the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce. I'm Jill Horner.